Hello, I'm Daryl Hardy, Project Manager of Green Connections Powys, which is a partnership between Radnorshire, Montgomeryshire and Brecon, part of Witsu, and it's funded by the NROL project and the Welsh Government. So there's a few familiar faces here. This is the Green Connections staff who are working across Powys. Some new people and some faces that I'm sure you will know. It's an ambitious project and we have a lot to achieve before March 2023. It covers a range of themes, including working with Powys County Council and community and town councils on their statutory biodiversity duties, helping community groups, landowners and businesses take action for wildlife in their local green space, and also offering opportunities for volunteering and learning about wildlife. Nature's recovery is, of course, at the heart of the project, and looking at a landscape scale is important as well. So this is an opportunity map created by BIS for a previous project, and it shows where it might be possible to connect, create and enhance habitats in Powys. So lots of opportunities there, as you can see. We'll also be further developing the local wildlife site system in Powys. The criteria for selection of sites were updated in the Wild Things project before. So now we need to establish a committee to sign off the designation of wildlife sites and also try and identify new ones as part of our work that we're doing for this project. We also think it's important to get them fully recognised and embedded in the Powys County Council planning system, so they're recognised. To that end, Tammy, Sarah and Steph have been busy visiting landowners to give advice on habitat management, and many of these have not been visited previously, so it's valuable work that's being done. We also have some funds to bring in contractors on important sites to do some habitat management work where we think it would make a significant difference for wildlife. And we'll be doing that over this winter and next year as well. We'll be adapting these habitat management toolkits for Powys. They were created for South Wales and they just need a little bit of tweaking and updating for Powys, and they will be available for landowners and community groups to use next year. Another thread of the project is a pilot led by Andy Shaw, who will be growing and reintroducing or reinforcing populations of rare plant species where they have a good chance of surviving and spreading in the landscape. Pauline, Janice and Lottie are leading on work with community groups and community councils by providing advice on enhancements of habitats and attending events and doing talks. So if you're interested in any of that, please get in touch with them. In 2022, they're planning a Powys Swift project and will be helping groups identify where swifts are nesting, raising awareness about this declining bird and putting up swift boxes where appropriate. This all kicks off with a Swift talk on Zoom on the 1st of December, and you can find a link to join that on the Radnorshire Wildlife Trust Events Programme website. We're also able to provide training for volunteers and community groups and landowners. Phil Ward, of course, will be in his element delivering some of this. He's also lined up to train volunteers on doing practical habitat management works on their community green spaces. We also have some funds to pay for external training. So, for example, if someone in your group needs a first aid certificate, or you'd like to learn how to scythe a meadow, or your woodland group thinks it would be important to understand more about tree safety and zoning, then we might be able to help with things like that. And today we are launching a new Facebook recording group with BIS called the Powys and Brecon Beacons Wildlife Recording Group. Some of the other lurks around the country have got these groups running, and we thought it'd be worth trialling it for Powys and see how it goes. Sarah Woodcock is live with you today and can answer any queries you have about this, but we're looking forward to that going forward after this. And finally, we do have a lot to cover while we have the funding and while we have the additional staff capacity. So any help from you to further this would be very welcome, especially if you know of any sites that you think would be worthy of more survey work or more specialist survey work that perhaps hasn't been done before. Or if you know community groups that want to do work on their local green space and would like some advice and support in doing that. So any help with any of that will be really welcome. Thank you very much, and please do get in touch with the staff.
Hi everyone, my name's Holly. I'm the Local Nature Partnership Coordinator for Powys. I'm going to talk to you very quickly today about the Local Nature Partnership's Camry Project, also known as the Lnp Camry Project, and the work of the Powys Nature Partnership. The Lnp Camry Project is a 3-year project funded by Welsh Government, due to end next year. The project is all about partnership working, sharing skills, knowledge, expertise and resources to protect and enhance nature in Wales. It aims to build a nature recovery network across Wales, engaging people, communities, businesses and decision makers in both practical action and strategic planning. Through this project, there are now 22 active local nature partnerships across Wales. In Powys, our local nature partnership is called the Powys Nature Partnership. This is a group of organisations and individuals working together to conserve Powys's wildlife for the future. The current partnership includes organisations such as BIS, the Wildlife Trusts, RSPB, Natural Resources Wales, Powys County Council, the Severn Rivers Trust, the Woodland Trust and Welsh Water, to name just a few. We cover the whole of Powys outside of the Brecon Beacons National Park, and we're responsible for coordinating, promoting and recording existing and new actions to conserve, promote and enhance biodiversity in Powys. Anyone with the time and expertise to feed into the work of the partnership is welcome to join, so please do get in touch if you're interested. Here are a few examples of some of the partnership projects that have happened so far. So one of the major advantages of working in partnership is that it makes things possible that may otherwise not have been. An example of this is the Llanidloes Landscape Scheme. It's completely volunteer-led and managed, a project to restore native woodland around Llanidloes. Over 30 landowners got involved initially to plant 6,500 trees in the area. The Woodland Trust donated trees, Montgomeryshire Wildlife Trust provided advice on where and where not to plant trees, the Town Council donated land and materials to create a community orchard. And this project has kept growing each year. There's now around 9,000 trees planted, I think, and well over 50 landowners involved. Other partnership projects include the Toads on Roads project at Lake Park in Clandon that happened last year. It was led by Radnorshire Wildlife Trust to raise awareness about the common toad populations around the lake and tackle some of the key threats there. We've also helped to create various community gardens as well, one in Astragunlais, in Clandod, Trewern and one in Knighton. Through the Local Places for Nature scheme, we've also funded a habitat restoration project at 2 sites around Astragunlais to help the marsh fritillary butterfly. And this was led by the Wildlife Trust of South and West Wales. We've also got a joint project with the Brecon Beacons Local Nature Partnership and BIS called Watching Nature Recover, but Maria will talk more about that later. There's also a citizen science project led by CPRW and Radnorshire Wildlife Trust, monitoring water quality along the River Lug and in that catchment. We've also helped fund some of the smaller projects too, including a series of training courses, a hedgerow restoration project in the Ellan Valley, wildflower planting with Open Newtown, and also we've funded some monitoring equipment for the Severn Rivers Trust to monitor soil quality and impacts of rainfall on farmland. The partnership is also working with Powys County Council to improve the management of road verges for biodiversity. Another massive project that the partnership has been working on this year is the Powys Nature Recovery Action Plan. So Welsh Government created the Wales Nature Recovery Action Plan a few years ago now. And in order to reach those national targets set out in the national plan, each local nature partnership has or is developing their own local nature recovery action plan to focus on the local priorities and actions. So this plan has been planned and produced by the Powys Nature Partnership. It will help to guide our work by identifying the actions that need to be taken to protect and enhance nature, highlighting where we need to focus our efforts. Alongside this work, the partnership also aims to communicate the message of importance of nature for everyone in Powys, what it does for us, why preserving what we already have is so important, and how improving habitat connectivity can help nature's recovery. And that's all from me today. Thank you very much for listening, and I'm very sorry that I can't actually be there at the forum today. But please do get in touch if you have any questions.
That's great. Okay, so as I've just been chatting, you already now have been introduced to me. I'm Maria, and I'm going to talk to you about the Brecon Beacons Local Nature Partnership, which is sort of following on from what Holly said about the Powys Local Nature Partnership. So I joined the LNP family in August 20, and I am employed and hosted by the Brecon Beacons National Park Authority. Next slide, please, Ben. As with the Powys Local Nature Partnership, we're part of the whole of the LNP network across Wales. Holly mentioned that there was 22 in the local authorities, but each of the national parks has one as well, so there's a bonus 3 there for us all. Next slide, please. Again, harping back to Holly, but she mentioned that there was about the nature recovery action plans, that there was one for Wales and that various authorities were in different positions with theirs. Well, we launched ours in 2019 for the national parks, so almost 2 years to the day actually, and it is available online for anybody who wants to have a look. I've taken out onto the slide here the priority 5 actions, and if you're reading quick enough, you'll see that action 3 was to recruit me, and it was to deliver and evaluate the NRAP, which is what I'm hopefully doing at the moment. Next slide, please. Again, copying from Holly, but we also have a healthy list of partners. Some of you are here today, and my role is, in essence, to work on behalf of all of those partners to bring everything together. Next slide. Okay, so I carry out a number of functions. I'm going to talk to this one first because it's got some nice pretty pictures, but I run social media for Brecon Beacons Nature Recovery, which is kind of how I brand it to the outside world, as I sort of believe that gets the public a bit more interested. And we have, I've got 3 social media accounts. You'll see that they're all doing reasonably well, and they, as I said, the content is focused on the general public generally rather than experts. They've all done quite well. Twitter, we've got 750 followers, and we've got 437 followers on Instagram, which is very interesting. It seems to be doing very well. The Facebook is, I haven't put a lot of time and effort into at the moment. That's something that's probably for the next year. Next slide. So again, Holly, I think this is her last mention. Holly mentioned the Watching Nature Recovery. This was a collaboration between ourselves, Powys and BIS, and the idea was, it was born out of lockdown and the fact that people couldn't do things within their community, so we set up a community of people who were watching nature recover. Basically, in essence, they were given a trail cam and they have a Facebook group, and the idea was that they record the wildlife that they see. Now, that hasn't always been quite as perfect as we would have liked it to be, but we're working on that. So next slide. The bulk of what I do is working with the 5 local nature recovery sites that we set up across Wales. These are all on, across the park. These are all on the fringes of the park, and they focus very much on where people live, work and access public services, as that is the overall aim of the fund. Now, these sites are all about connecting those communities with the wider nature recovery happening across the park. And as you can see, they're in Pont Stickle, Pont Brecon, Gyfeilyn, Warren and Talgarth. And next and final slide, please. I've also set up and run a grant scheme similar to, I said I wouldn't mention Holly again, but I'm about to, similar to the one that Holly mentioned, which was a small grant scheme. And that is really all about enabling people who want to do good work for nature in the park to be able to do this. We have a couple of applications in from people who've used the money to do things to enable them to do wildlife recording. This is something we're particularly keen on. So if there's anybody on here today who would like to do something, who feels that a piece of equipment or whatever that would help them do their wildlife recording, please do get in touch either directly with me or through Ben. Ben and I chat all the time. So that is my presentation for today.